Hey everybody, my name is Jason Wright and I'm from Texas, and this is the very first edition of ThreatWise TV. Today we're going to be talking with Adam O'Donnell, who's joining me in the studio. Adam, thanks so much for coming.
Jason, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So we're going to talk today about a new launch that's coming up with Protect employees with the AMP for Endpoint technology. And I know we've got a lot of focus that has shifted in the industry from servers to the endpoint and how we're protecting the endpoint. Why do you think that is?
It's absolutely true. Enterprises have been able to aggregate all their information into a couple SaaS products and their servers, and it allows it to have very good security controls around there.
Sure.
But those enterprises have thousands of endpoints, and those are thousands of opportunities to be compromised.
A lot of endpoints, a lot of opportunities, a lot of users that like to click.
That's absolutely true.
They're all clickers. So what is it that that kind of inspired you to be one of the, to kind of found this technology and get this off the ground? What drove all that?
Well, several years ago, my friends and I decided to start a new kind of antivirus company that leveraged all the latest and greatest new cloud technologies that were becoming available.
Right.
And that company was called Immunet, and we were then acquired by SourceFire, and then SourceFire was acquired by Cisco, and that's how we're here now.
And now it's pervasive throughout almost all of our security technologies. It's had a very strong path and road and prevalence out here.
It's super exciting. I never thought I would be able to have something that I built with such a large market presence like it is now.
It's been amazing, but why do we have to keep reinventing our security technologies? Why is it so difficult to lock this stuff down?
Well, attackers are highly motivated. The vast majority, 99% of attacks, it's not really seriously trying to get in. But a small fraction of attacks are built by political actors or economic actors, and they have huge financial motivations as well as QA departments that will test the attacks before they launch them against your product.
QA departments, kind of like an actual business organization that's legitimate, huh?
These are real software development shops.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very interesting. So what do we do when we're doing a great job of blocking that 99%, but what do we do when we see that 1% come through?
When you have an attack that goes against a specific company, you need to give your people the tools to be able to see what that attack did, what it touched, where it went, and what any kind of risks that actually happened to your network.
Absolutely. So I imagine that doing all of that and investigating and trying to track it all down and respond to it takes a lot of time and energy, and it's probably the bulk of what a lot of our customers spend time doing. What can we do to help them expedite that process and be more accurate with it?
Well, if you're gathering all this data from a bunch of different products into your security operations center, it's very difficult to plow through it in a timely manner. But because all the products are built at Cisco, the data all interoperates. It's all able to come into a single location that someone's able to look at and interact with to very quickly understand what happened.
Yeah, I love the way that I talk a lot about how we're integrating our technologies and sharing threat information and the intelligence back and forth. But I think nowadays we're about to take it to a new level with this launch, right? That's what visibility is doing?
That's absolutely true. The AMP Visibility product is our technology that allows you to aggregate all your information from the Cisco Security Suite, see what's all happening all in one location, very quickly determine what happened during the incident and how to respond.
Outstanding. Well, I can't wait to see a demo of it, and that's coming up next. But for now, thanks so much for joining us in the studio.
Thank you so much, Jason.
All right, cheers, buddy.
Take care.
So as promised, we've come into the lab here to be able to show you exactly what it is that we're talking about when we say that we have a new feature in visibility that can expedite the investigation process of that 1% that's coming through our main defenses. So joining me in the lab today is Dean DeBeer, Product Line CTO. Dean, thanks so much for coming.
Absolute pleasure, Jason. Thank you.
So show me the new functionality that we have in visibility that's going to help our customers save time and improve the accuracy of their investigations.
Absolutely. So as Adam was saying earlier, there is going to be a percentage of events or incidents that get through your environment. Yes. And you need to be able to investigate them effectively and quickly.
Right.
So what I want to show you is what we've been developing to help speed that entire process.
Perfect.
So I'm sure at this point, everyone's familiar with device trajectory in AMP for Endpoints. It's that video recording of all activity that occurred on that host, running
Excellent.
processes, etc. And you'll see here that we're calling out a malicious executable. We're running in audit mode, which means we're in detection mode only, so we're not preventing anything. But the question you want to ask yourself is exactly what is the impact in my environment of this event?
Where else might this have gone or affected other systems? Right?
Exactly. Is it one or many hosts, right? So how do we do that quickly and effectively? And that's where AMP visibility comes in, which is allowing us to tie our architectures together. So very quickly we'll investigate this executable, and you'll notice we call out a pivot to visibility. Very quickly, as we drop into visibility, you'll notice that in the background, you'll see that it very quickly rendered a graph view of what we saw, right? In the background, we're reaching out to multiple data sources, including your endpoints infrastructure, searching your entire infrastructure for the existence of that file. We're looking at what Talos knows about the data. We're looking at what Advanced Threat knows about the data. We're reaching out to Umbrella to see if they have any additional information associated with it, as well as other third-party products like VirusTotal and others.
So not just Cisco research, and not just one Cisco product, but multiple products, multiple organizations, and even third-party organizations as well that can provide information about this threat.
Absolutely, and that's where our open architectures and APIs come into play.
Absolutely.
So very quickly, we want to continue this investigation, and we'll see that a process was used to execute that malicious file. So let's go and have a look at the file associated with that process and see what else we can figure out. So a very quick right-click, pivot, drill down, and see what other information occurs and appears around that file. You'll notice that immediately we've called out a second impacted host associated with that initial investigation. And from here, we can continue down. You'll see that as we render the data, we're pulling in more and more observables. In this case, now we're bringing in your network artifacts, IP addresses and a domain name. And at this point, we have the ability to take certain actions, right? For example, if I have my Umbrella infrastructure set up correctly, I can very quickly go and block or alert on that unknown domain. If there are any additional hashes that may have been generated or files that may have been associated with this investigation, I can very quickly go and block that in AMP for endpoints. So as you can see here, we could very quickly go and dive further into this IP address, take another look and see just exactly what the impact is. And as you can see, it renders more information, all of which we can use in our environment to better defend. And quite quickly, we called out a third infected host with that investigation.
Excellent. So we're able to pivot off of different aspects of this investigation and see what we see and how they're communicating. And here we've identified additional hosts that have been compromised by that same threat.
Absolutely. It's not just about that single observable that you saw to start, not that single executable, but it's what that executable did, domain, IP, you name it, right? Can we leverage that? Exactly. Can we leverage that across your entire organization?
Excellent. Okay.
So, as you're talking about investigations and being able to pull that data into one place, we have a lot of products. So how can we pivot between products and at the same time, ensure that that data follows us, or that investigation that we're performing follows us as we move through our products? So I'm going to hop over to a threat grid report. And you'll notice in the report, this is the classic threat grid analysis showing the details associated with that sample, right?
Threat grid being our threat intelligence platform that's analyzing these different files and everything that we know about them.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Dynamic analysis, static analysis, all designed to produce threat intelligence. So very quickly, you'll see here that we're looking at a couple of interesting domains. We're integrated with Umbrella, so we call those out as being malicious or suspicious.
I love that we can see Umbrella information right here combined with the AMP for endpoint information and the threat grid information, all putting this into a single place.
Right. The goal here is to allow the user to make faster and faster decisions without having to move between products. So I've just popped up what we call Casebook. Think of this as a floating satellite widget that you'll see now, floating across all of our products. It follows you as you move between our portfolio.
Nice.
So I've opened it up to an investigation that I'm currently working on, and you'll notice that it's called out a couple of malicious files and domains, and I've been drilling down into those. I very quickly could take another one of these files and simply drag it into the investigation and add it to that that little casebook.
Excellent. So it's kind of keeping track of everything that we know about it as we move through our understanding of the threat and where it's been, what else it might have impacted.
Correct. Now, it's not to say that any of this might be seen in your environment, but that's the next question you're going to ask, right? You've done this analysis, and the question then becomes, am I impacted or not, right? So very quickly, through Casebook, I can pivot straight into visibility and let visibility perform all those same functions you saw previously, right? Do that large, broad, dynamic enrichment of that data, go out to your endpoint infrastructure and hunt for evidence of any of those observables that I'd gathered previously. And as you can see here, very quick rendering showing that relationship as well as additional data that I hadn't collected and showing that one compromised host. At this point, I can then further in the investigation by hunting down and drilling down into those individual observables and then take action on them, whether it be blocking, alerting, or some other form of remediation.
So that's the next the next whole step, right? Is now that we've investigated and we've learned about the threat, we need to take some action and start to blocking. And I've always loved the right-click being ability to block a threat from AMP for endpoint. But I think now we've got it even across other technologies as well.
Absolutely. So, in this case, we had a number of domains that appeared in this, and we can very quickly, select a domain and go straight to, a block list in Umbrella. So, even if Umbrella hasn't seen this information, we can be proactive about our defense around it. The same thing goes for, any file that we see throughout this investigation. I can add that to a block list in my endpoint infrastructure. And as we evolve this architecture, you'll start seeing other Cisco products being integrated as well.
Interesting, yeah. So the whole thing is a format for going forward for us to tie into intelligence and to other technologies in our Cisco product line, and even third-party technologies as well.
Correct. So,
Outstanding.
Again, those open architectures I mentioned previously, those APIs, we use those same APIs to build our integrations, third-party products, and users can use those same APIs to do their own custom integrations.
Fantastic. Now, does an AMP for endpoint customer automatically get all of this functionality and the visibility capabilities, or is that a separate license, or how does it work?
If you're an AMP for endpoint customer, you get visibility.
If it AMP for endpoint, you got it.
Absolutely.
Beautiful, beautiful. Awesome. Thanks so much for coming in and showing us. This has been a great way that we illustrate how we're pulling in information from multiple sources, rendering that information in a very visible and easy to read way so that you can track threats and understand what's happening, tracking that information in Casebook, and then providing you the one-click ability to remediate those threats, even across multiple technologies. That is exciting, moving closer and closer to that single pane of glass point of view. So if you'd like to learn a little bit more information about visibility and about this product line in general, go to cisco.com/go/amp endpoints, all one word, and you'll be able to see some more case studies and documentations and deeper dives into this technology. So thanks for tuning in to ThreatWise TV for our very first inaugural edition. And I've been Jason Wright. Thanks for coming by.